Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, man charged after allegedly assaulting police. 33-year-old Andrew Wilkinson, a farmer of Bryant's Land, Spalding, Clarendon, was charged following an incident at the Spalding Town Center in the parish on Saturday, March 8. He has been charged with assault occasioning actual bodily harm and assault at a common law. Reports from the Spalding police are that about 11:30 a.m., lawmen were patrolling the area when they saw Wilkinson, who was wanted by the police. The lawmen approached him and attempted to place him under arrest, which he resisted, and proceeded to hit one officer in his face, causing bruising and swelling. He then allegedly pulled a weapon and advanced towards the officers in a threatening manner. He was shot during the altercation and taken to the hospital, where he was treated and released into police custody. He was subsequently arrested and charged. A court date for him is being arranged. MPs are not at liberty to discuss the payments to government contractors, says Juliet Holness. Members of Parliament are not at liberty to discuss the issue of payment to government contractors, according to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Juliet Holness. She made the declaration last Thursday as she chaired the sitting of the Parliament's Standing Finance Committee that examined the 2025-2026 budget. A seemingly agitated Holness made the remarks following statements from opposition MPs, including the member of St. Andrews Southwestern, Angela Brown-Burke, to the Minister of Works, Robert Morgan, about the supposed complaints from contractors about not being paid. In his response to Brown-Burke, Morgan said, "The challenge I'm having is when a contractor goes out there and does poor work, and the National Works Agency says we're not paying for this, and they go to the politician and complain, and the politician elevates that to the national level without the benefit of why the person wasn't paid. I am not going to, as minister with responsibility, preside over payments to the contractors who have not given the taxpayers a value for money," Morgan said. Brown-Burke shot back, stating that, "I am not for one single second asking you to make payments that have not been validated. And let us also be very clear that Angela Rosemary Brown-Burke is not sitting here before you asking you a question that I have not asked elsewhere and where I have not provided the information. And I can tell you that in that discourse, I did not get any report of non-validation of issues with work or any of that." Morgan was about to respond when Holness intervened with a member and the minister. "I would like us to move on from this conversation because none of us as members of Parliament are at liberty to be having any discussions about the payments for contractors. That is not our role and function, and it is actually improper to do so." Holness said contractors having a problem with a non-payment should write to the NWA. "And I will have this discussion with those members of Parliament who do not appreciate this statement. It is a dangerous precedent for any member of Parliament to engage in any discussions, negotiations, resolution of bills for any contractor, and it is a definitive statement," she declared. "If you choose to continue down this line, you do so at your own peril," she warned. Brown-Burke said she would desist from continuing down that road, but insisted that all of us in here should be concerned about how bills are paid by the government. "And I am not talking about contractors only. I'm saying that how government pays its bills should be important to all of us." Progressive Grocers supermarket in Portmore ordered closed. The St. Catherine Health Department has ordered the closure of the Progressive Grocers supermarket in Sovereign Village, Portmore, St. Catherine. A notice of the closure was placed on the door of the popular food store on Monday. The health department said it has written to the management of the store, accusing it of non-compliance under the Public Health Food Handlers Regulation. It said the notice will remain in force until further advised. This was confirmed Monday afternoon by Parish Manager for Health Services in St. Catherine, Abdon Campbell, who declined to elaborate on the reason for the closure. A similar notice was served last month on Jung Supermarket on Newlands Road, also in Portmore. JTA calls for audit of school infrastructure island-wide. President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Dr. Marcus Smith, is calling for the Ministry of Education to conduct an audit and invest more in infrastructure of schools island-wide. This follows Sunday night's fire at Leeds Primary and Infant School in St. Elizabeth, in which the principal's office, staff room, a classroom, and the library were damaged. During a visit to the school on Monday, Dr. Smith, while noting that now is not the time for pointing fingers, said a proactive approach must be taken to preventing similar occurrences. Citing an underinvestment in the infrastructure for schools, he added that some institutions are a termite bite away from collapsing. The JTA president said discussions with Leeds Primary and the infant school principal, Christine Dawkins Beadle, highlighted the need for greater evaluation and the maintenance of schools.
This puts into context some of the challenges that we have been talking about repeatedly at the JTA, and that is the underinvestment in the infrastructure for school. In discussions with the principal, we have seen where there has been repeated calls for assistance regarding electrical upgrades of the school, and as a school principal, I can talk about that. That is something that we need to look at. So in Jamaica, we tend to build, but we don't maintain. And we have to really move towards a policy of ensuring that our schools are effectively maintained to avoid this, because the amount of money you have to find to do this entire rehabilitation work is significantly more than had we just done the work necessary, I want to make a personal pledge on behalf of the JTA that we will be offering some support to the school, particularly whereas their library, their staff room, the principal's office was devastated, as well as classrooms. And so we want to lend our support, and I make an appeal on behalf of the school to the business community and corporate Jamaica to come on board and assist. This is one of those schools that's going above and beyond the call of duty. I know the principal personally, and I know she is one of those that she never relents when it comes down to raising the bar, raising standards. And we have to do our best to ensure that Leeds is reconstituted, rehabilitated, so they can get along with the business of work.
Countries not exploiting Cuban workers, says St. Vincent Prime Minister. Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, has rejected claims by the U.S. government that countries in the region, including Jamaica, have been exploiting Cubans in their healthcare sectors. Speaking on the weekend at a public forum organized by the People's National Party in East Portland, Dr. Gonsalves declared that his government will not bow to any pressure from the Trump administration. Dr. Gonsalves rubbished the idea that there was any exploitation of Cuban workers, as he cited U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's statement that officials from countries that are complicit with trafficking in persons and exploiting Cuban professionals will lose their U.S. visas. Dr. Gonsalves argued that the Cubans have been playing a pivotal role in the healthcare sector in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The Secretary of State of the United States of America has issued a statement that countries which are complicit, in his words, with trafficking in persons and exploiting Cuban professionals, the doctors and engineers who come, that those who are complicit would lose their passport, they will lose their visas and their families. Now, I know we're not involved in any exploitation of Cuban workers. And I know that the Cubans are not involved either, the Cuban government. I know the arrangements. But if it is determined that you have to take away my visa and Eloise's visa, I want to say this publicly. It will be reported. I'm not looking for fight with anybody, but we have to be honest and open. The hemodialysis which we do in St. Vincent at the Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center with these 60 persons, without the Cubans there, I will not be able to offer that service. So, does anybody expect that to go because I want to keep a visa, that I would let 60 persons from the poor and working people to die? It will never happen. But I believe that the facts will show that we ought not to be worried about the strictures which they are talking about.
The Jamaican government has not yet stated its position on the U.S. government's plan to expand an existing Cuban-related visa restriction policy that targets forced labor linked to the Cuban labor export program. The announcement was made 2 weeks ago by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton has said discussions have started on the likely impact of the latest U.S. policy decision that threatens to disrupt Cuba's overseas medical mission program. Hundreds of Cuban nurses are working in Jamaica. The matter was scheduled to be discussed by Cabinet on Monday. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.